Every single time I write about having strong emotions, someone finds their way into my comments to tell me I should look into whether I have borderline personality disorder. Every time. I've been writing on the internet for a while now. I have a Substack. I have a YouTube channel. I write about ADHD, about philosophy, about what it means to have a brain that works differently. And I'm telling you, the second I mention feeling something strongly, someone appears like clockwork. Like they have a Google alert set for woman expressing emotion. And I've been thinking about why that is, what it says about how we see people who feel things deeply, and what it says about what we think a diagnosis is even for. Hi, I'm Emma. I'm an ADHD philosopher. I'm also the Gandalf of ADHD. Someone gave me that title and I'm keeping it forever. It's mine now. So, 3 diagnoses, really simply. Anxiety. There's something happening underneath. Something in your nervous system that's learned to feel unsafe. You should know that. There's somewhere to go with that. ADHD. Your brain works differently, specifically in ways we understand. You should know that. There's somewhere to go with that. Borderline personality disorder. You have a problematic personality. Maybe you should talk to someone about that. That's it. That's the whole thing. No mechanism, no target, no here's why. Just you, as a person, are the problem. Here's a therapist's phone number. Good luck. And somehow that's supposed to be the real one, the serious one, the truth underneath everything else. I want to talk about why that is and why I think it's completely wrong. The term borderline was invented in 1938. The reason it's called that is honestly embarrassing. It's called borderline because the people who got this label didn't fit neatly into one of the 2 categories psychiatry had at the time, psychotic or neurotic. They were in between, on the border. So the name literally means we don't know where to put you. That's the origin story. Not a great one. A filing cabinet for the unclassifiable. We don't know what to call you, so here, have this. And somehow, almost 90 years later, we're still using it, still handing it to people, still saying it like it means something specific and true about who they are. And also, 75% of people diagnosed with BPD are women. There are actual studies where clinicians were given the exact same patient profile, the exact same symptoms, and just told the patient was either a man or a woman. When they were told it's a woman, they were significantly more likely to diagnose BPD. Same symptoms. Woman, borderline personality disorder. Man, something more manageable. Something with a treatment plan. Great system. Very normal. Nothing to see here. When you tell someone they have a borderline personality disorder, what you are actually telling them is your personality is disordered. Not what happened to you, not how your brain learned to survive. Your personality, who you are, disordered. That is completely different from saying something hard happened to you. Your nervous system adapted, and we're going to figure out together what it adapted to and how to work with that. One of those is a life sentence. The other is a starting point. And I want to say something that I think is the most important distinction in this whole conversation. Anxiety is what's happening to you from the inside that can explain what people see on the outside. It's a mechanism. It's a reason. It points somewhere. Borderline personality disorder is just what people see about you from the outside. That's it. Someone watched you. They saw behaviors they didn't understand or didn't like, and they named those behaviors and called it a diagnosis. That's not a diagnosis. That's a judgment. A real diagnosis explains the inside. Here's what's happening underneath. Here's why it shows up the way it does. Here's what we can do about it. BPD skips all of that entirely. It starts and ends at the surface. It describes a fire without asking what started it. And here's what makes it even more troubling. If I walked into a psychiatrist's office tomorrow and said, I have a history of trauma and I struggle with anger, I would walk out with a BPD diagnosis. Almost certainly. But does that mean I have it? Because all I did was describe things from the outside, observable things. I just described the surface, and the surface was enough. Which means the diagnosis, even when a doctor gives it and not just a stupid commenter, is still just the outside. The clinical office doesn't make it deeper. It just makes it official. Think of it this way. You go to a doctor and say, I keep falling. The doctor says, yes, you have a falling disorder. Here's a referral. Good luck staying upright. That's BPD. No tips, no scales, not even a pamphlet. Just you fall. That's you now. someone else's problem. It sounded serious and clinical and complete. But all they did was hand the falling back to you and say, yours now, forever. Nobody asked why. Nobody looked underneath. Nobody treated the thing that was causing the thing. I've never been diagnosed with BPD. I want to be honest about that. But I could have been, easily. I was told my entire life that I was an angry person, a scary person. People don't want to mess with me, they said. I had explosive anger that came out of nowhere at people I loved. For a long time, I kind of just accepted that story. That's who I am. That's how I am. But something didn't sit right, because underneath all that anger, there was a part of me screaming, somebody please help me. And that part, turns out, was anxiety. Here's what I figured out after a lot of work, a lot of years. Anger doesn't actually have a source. Or more accurately, if you try to understand your anger by looking at the anger itself, you will never get anywhere. Because anger is not the thing. Anger is what happens when something else doesn't get heard. Most of the time, that something else is fear, anxiety, stress. A nervous system that learned a long time ago that the world is not safe, that people leave, that you have to stay ready because the moment you stop bracing, something will hit you. And that nervous system offers you anger. Anger has power. Anger feels like control. The thing underneath, the fear, the grief, the anxiety, that feels like weakness. So your brain, trying to protect you, hands you the anger instead, without asking, without telling you. It just does it. The anger was loyal. It showed up every single day to protect you. It just didn't know how to stop. When I found the right medication for my anxiety, the anger stopped. I finally was able to address what was underneath, and the anger just had no reason to show up anymore. So it dissipated. You know how easy it is for me to fall asleep now? I put my head down and I'm gone. Because a body that knows it doesn't have to be on guard anymore can rest. It doesn't need to monitor what's coming. It trusts it would be okay when it wakes up. It's not skill building or symptom management or anger management. It's a nervous system that finally got what it was asking for. And now, getting me truly angry, almost impossible. You can piss me off, absolutely. And then I forgive easily, super easily, because pissed off is just information. It says that wasn't okay, and then it moves on. Anger, real chronic anger, is pissed off that was never heard and had to keep screaming louder and louder to get any attention at all. I don't need to scream anymore. I actually listen to myself now. Someone told me recently that my ADHD is just a less stigmatizing label, that what I really have is borderline personality disorder. And I want to engage with that seriously, because the thinking behind it is worth dismantling. Let's say she was right. My anxiety diagnosis is wrong, my ADHD diagnosis is wrong. What I really have is borderline personality disorder. What would that have done for me? Compare it to what I did get. Here's a diagnosis that says something specific is happening in your brain, in your nervous system. Here's a specific medication that's meant for this. Here's a framework for understanding where it comes from. I got calmer after a lifetime of not feeling calm by any means. What does borderline personality disorder give you? Instead, a name for your breakdown. You have a problematic personality. Maybe talk to someone about that. There is a system that can help people with borderline personality disorder. It's called DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, and it is used for a lot of other situations, including anxiety and ADHD. The problem is that even when you are told about DBT or use DBT and have borderline personality disorder, you are told this is who you are. The things you learn through DBT are mindfulness, distress tolerance, emotional regulation, interpersonal effectiveness are not going to make you have less of a borderline personality disorder, which is to say the anger issues, the instability issues, the anxiety issues that you have if you have BPD built in, baby, they're not going anywhere. So even when you are given the one thing that was actually made specifically for the treatment of BPD, which is DBT, even that is almost guaranteed to only help mildly, because you have a personality that is problematic. You don't have an issue inside. You don't have something that is deep down underneath it. You are an angry person. You are an unstable person. You are not to be trusted. That is borderline personality disorder. And the thing that nobody says out loud is that borderline personality disorder is often treated like the truth underneath everything else. Like if someone suggests you have it, they're finally seeing the real you. They cracked your code. This is the real thing. This is the serious thing. This is the thing those other diagnoses were hiding. And the reason it can feel like that is because it hurts more to hear it. It hurts way more to be told you have a borderline personality disorder than to be told you have an anxiety disorder. You have ADHD. But think about why it hurts more. It's not like it rings more true. That's not it. It's because it tells you nothing. It gives you absolutely nowhere to go. The pain isn't recognition. It's a dead end. Your brain is hitting a wall and saying, there's nothing to do with this. I'm not going to say that it feels wonderful to be told you have a disorder of any kind. But when I was told I have ADHD, I was like, oh. When I was told I have anxiety, it was a little different, because I felt so much anger on a regular basis that I was like, where? And then I started to notice it. When you realize that anger is covering for something, for fear, for stress, for anxiety, it all starts making sense. And when you slowly but surely help resolve that, and yes, I said resolve. I'm not going to say I'm fixed because I am taking medication, but I'm going to tell you right now, I am so happy. I am happy. I am so calm. I might as well be fixed. My anxiety diagnosis, my ADHD diagnosis, both of them, they pointed somewhere. They said, here's what to do. Here's where to go. Even through the difficulty of that, you could hear the door opening. The pain of a BPD diagnosis isn't the pain of truth. It's the pain of verdict. And those feel completely different if you pay attention. One hurts and then opens. The other just closes. A diagnosis should always be a doorway. You should be diagnosed to help better yourself. There's no other reason to get diagnosed. And the people receiving a BPD diagnosis deserve so much better than that. They deserve to be asked, what is underneath this? What is your nervous system actually trying to do? What would happen if we addressed that instead of just naming the fire? Because the fire will go out, but only when you finally give it what it needs. I'm not saying this is easy. I'm not saying medication fixes it or one realization does. It took me years. It takes work, real, ongoing, sometimes painful work. It takes unlearning things. It takes learning new things. It takes opening your mind to new things. It takes so much. But that work is possible. That change is possible. I am proof of that. The person I was and the person I am now, they are not the same because I understood what was actually happening. And you deserve to understand what's actually happening too. You're not your diagnosis. You're not your anger. You're a person who went through something, maybe a lot of things. Your nervous system did its job, and now there's more information available and you can do something with that. That's a starting point. If this resonated with you, especially if you or someone you love has been handed a label that felt more like a verdict than a doorway, I'd love to hear about it. Please drop it in the comments. And if you ever want to go deeper on this, I'm at empoweredadhd.org. Take care of yourselves. You deserve it.